Welcome to Red Shadow Forge's new video series called Forge and Talk. I'm going to be taking a little time every week to do a video like this where I sit down and I have some coffee and sit and talk about some of the things that, as a follower or as somebody interested in bladesmithing, if you do stumble across our pages, you may wonder how you guys got started, what do you guys use, all things like that. So I'm going to be going over different topics. Today is going to be titled Origins. The sum of this video is how we got our start and what equipment and what tools we were using at the beginning. So what got me into bladesmithing was Martin Coffey. We were stationed together while him and I were both stationed in New Jersey. We were both active duty in the Navy, and he still is. I'm reserved right now. I got out last August. But anyway, I didn't really have any hobbies at the time. I lived about an hour away from work. I rented a house, so I had a yard, a little bit of space to work, but I didn't do anything. And he had just checked into the command, and shortly after, we had some conversations, and he had shown an interest in blacksmithing, bladesmithing, more so bladesmithing, making knives and swords and things. And to be honest, I didn't even know that was still a thing. I didn't know people still did that. I didn't know about Forge and Fire or any of this stuff. So the more we got to talking, the cooler I thought it was. I was like, this is really sweet. So I finally got to the point where I said, you know what, I need a hobby. I want to start doing this. So that moment, it was like it triggered something, and he was like, yes. So, because he had been wanting to do this for years, but due to moving around in the military and things like that, it was just really hard for him to get started. So to have somebody to help start up, it was game on at that point. So we hold on a second. All right, so at that point, I told him I really want to get into this, and he said, all right, let's do it. So he bought a smoker grill from Home Depot for around $70 to $80 so that we could use that as a forge. We could convert it into a forge, because our initial plan was to dig a hole in the ground and build the forge in the ground. But on the way over, it was raining, and on the way over, I say that, but he was driving to my house that day. Like I said, it was about an hour. So it was raining the whole drive over, and he's like, this is not gonna, we can do something better. So that's when we went to Home Depot, and he told me the idea about buying the smokers. So we did. We got it back, and we had ordered some fire brick, and we went and picked up a pipe, drilled some holes in it, and our very early videos from 2017 and 2018, we used that forge for quite a while until it just about broke to death. I mean, it was, we used it so much, but we had a good setup. We had a pipe in the middle. We used the fire brick to create that V shape so we could set the coal on. And at first, we used nothing but wood. We didn't even use coal. We didn't know where to get it or anything. So we used bundles of coal that you can buy at a hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, things like that, about $9 a bag. And we were using those bags and just getting the wood hot enough and putting enough wood in there so that we could throw our knives in. And that was when we were really focused a lot on railroad spikes for practice and things like that. So the first 3 knives that I ever finished were railroad spike knives, and I still have them. And looking back at them now, I'm like, wow, I've progressed a lot. But we did that for a while. We had a railroad track, a piece of railroad track anvil, ASO, sorry, not an anvil, but an anvil shaped object that we used, but it was curved on the top. We never flattened it, so that was kind of tricky to keep the blades straight. But we also had a maybe 30-pound, I don't remember the exact weight, but a really small anvil that we ordered, so we used that as well. But we eventually stepped up and got this thing. and that is an 85-pound anvil. But the start of this, I was using vice grips as tongs, and I tried making some tongs out of rebar. That did not work well. They were functional, but ugly, and the functionality did not last very long of them. It was my first attempt at tongs, and they turned out horrible. But like I said, we had a decent forge set up. We had a decent little anvil, something to hammer on, and then we had the vice grips to use as tongs, and a couple random sized hammers that we had just picked up at the hardware store. So I mean, we started with not a lot of stuff, and maybe probably less than $200, and we were forging. It was just one of those things that he talked about enough, and he showed big enough interest. I started watching videos on it, and the more I found, the more I was interested. And I mean, there's just all kinds of things that you can do with this. There's no rules, no limitations. There's some guidelines that you should definitely follow, but get it hot, hit the steel, things like that. As long as you're following that kind of order, it's pretty simple after that. And you got a lot of playroom to experiment and use different types of steels, different types of hammers, different techniques, and all that stuff. So we did that. We started everything up in October of 2017. We forged that whole winter, and I mean, it was cold. We'd be outside, and it would be in between 2 and 10 degrees. We'd be outside for 8 to 14 hours a day on the weekends or days off and things like that, and we would just be non-stop doing this stuff, whether it was forging or working on making handles or just everything was new. So we had so many areas to improve on, because you got to start somewhere, and you got to go somewhere with it. So we started off knowing nothing and no experience, and then we just started practicing more and more and more. Every step we made, every step that we completed, we got super excited, which is, I think, every bladesmith when you first start doing this stuff. Even if it's just, I think I'm gonna make a knife, not even do it as a hobby, just you need a knife, you want to make it, you've seen people on YouTube do it or whatever, so you want to do it. Every step that you complete in that process, no matter how ugly or how bad it looks at the very beginning, you're still very proud and very excited, to have accomplished what you did, and then move on to the next step. So I'm very glad we did this, and I know Martin Coffey is as well. This has been an awesome experience, and definitely an awesome hobby. I couldn't think of doing anything else as much as I love doing this stuff. I don't know, I just don't think there's anything that I could put this much time and effort into and get as much out of it. It's a lot of fun. Over the years, it's been what, 3 years now? Almost 3 years. We've gotten a lot more supplies, a lot more tools. There's videos of the Whitlock's forge that we stepped up to, and that's the coal forge that we use. We got the propane forge. We've gotten the 2x72 belt grinder from Ameribraid, which is fantastic. Just every little tool that we've gotten along the way has helped shape our process, and a lot has changed, I guess. But it's good. I mean, change is good. You start off one thing, you get more tools, you get better tools, you get better equipment, you get better at it. That's the whole goal. I mean, practice makes better. So I'm going to be doing another video on probably next Sunday, next Saturday, something like that. We'll get it posted next week. We do have Instagram, Facebook, our own website, YouTube, and the YouTube especially, we're going to be putting out a lot more videos and more frequently. So if you guys liked this, I hope you did. A little bit of backstory into our process. If you guys liked the video, give us a like. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. It helps us out. So, I mean, thanks for watching, and have a good day. We'll see you next time.